So, hey everyone, welcome to City of Fighters. I'm Keith. I'm someone who's been in esports for quite a few decades now. Today we'll be talking about everything Tekken, basically. So, even though I love gaming and esports, I'm going to need some help with Tekken. So, I have two very special guests. So, let me not keep you waiting. Our first guest is Joseph, also known as Addicttekken. He's the founder of City of Fighters. He's also someone who's very heavily involved in helping the Maltese community grow. And if I'm not mistaken, he's been playing since he was like 7 years, something like that. So we're going to get some good insights from him for sure. The second guest I have here is someone who doesn't need much introduction. We have a professional Tekken player from Germany, Sephiblack. Welcome. I know you have a lot of achievements. I went on your Wikipedia and all I saw is it's just stacked with achievements. So pleasure to have you here in Malta.
Thank you.
So I have a lot. I want to pick your brain both on Tekken. So if you don't mind, if you want, we can just go ahead and start. Good? Perfect. So, Joe, first thing I'd like to speak about is Ascension. Definitely going to be very beneficial for City of Fighters. So, I'll let you talk about it. What can you tell us about the whole thing?
Yeah, so when I started organizing again, the Friday casuals became really, really popular. And after one season, we decided to structure it. We decided to have casual sessions on Friday, and the top 8 players would have points. After a number of sessions, the overall top 8 players would qualify for the main event, but realizing that perhaps some local talent wouldn't be able to make it every Friday, we make an LCQ a week before the main event, and the top 8 players of the LCQ also qualify to the main event. For the main event, then you have basically the best 16 players, 16 local players, and then they battle it out at the main event. Whoever wins, their name is inscribed on the season champion wrestling belt. And after 3-4 seasons, we have all the season champions battle it out, and whoever wins the GOAT series, which is basically player of the year.
All right.
For City of Fighters. So Ascension is starts with the LCQ. It started last Sunday and it will end this Sunday. We had to name it Ascension because it's special. Whoever wins will ascend to victory. Will hopefully, no offense, but hopefully a Maltese local player can beat, professional Tekken player like Sephi, and I'm very excited to see. it.
All right, so we have to root against you, Sephi. Okay, so it's the same. It's a common thing though with City of Fighters. You're always doing something which is long term to promote players improving and achieving a goal, which then can lead to another goal, and this is a bigger, better extension of that.
Yes.
Perfect. That sounds very, very interesting, and I'm sure you have a lot of players who are dying to. Well, actually, they started now.
They started already. In the LCQ, we had some players who said, "I'm gonna go on a break. I need a break from Tekken." And then I told them, "Sephi's coming. Okay, I'm gonna come back."
Good motivation.
We already had our GOAT Series winner of 2025, Super Santoro, who played against Sephi in the LCQ in the grand final and lost. Sephi won. Knowing Super Santoro, he's going to go home, he's going to study, and he's going to come back stronger than ever. Yeah, so you're not out of the woods yet.
In fact, I want to talk about that sort of strategy later on. So let's go to Sephi now for a second. So I know it's not your first time in Malta, but I'm still curious. The first time you got invited to Malta, did you know where Malta was, first of all?
Where Malta was? Yeah.
You did know, but did you know what Malta was like?
For me, it was always like, okay, I heard about Malta, but I had no clue how the culture is.
This is why I'm asking, because I'm trying to imagine your face when you looked on the map and you see this tiny area and you say, I'm going here to play Tekken. Like, what's going on? Like, I'm sure you had that a bit of a confusion. I wanted to ask because I'm sure for someone who doesn't know where Malta is, once you see how small it is, they're going to be questionable. Like, And it leads on to my next question. In fact, were you impressed though that it's such a small island that has a very healthy scene? Like,
yeah, I was like very surprised that the scene is so active. I already knew some players who like traveled for tournaments, but I didn't know like it has such an active scene that plays Tekken and is like also very dedicated to it.
Yes, the Tekken scene are definitely the most dedicated scene in Malta in esports for sure. Like people who are a strong community together.
Mm-hmm.
And being honest, coming from someone who competed at a very high level, the level of Tekken in Malta, what do you think overall? As in, I don't expect most players to be at your level, obviously, but what do you think about the level of Tekken here?
Like Maltesian players?
Maltese, yes.
Maltese already showed that they can compete with like very good players. Like Leonidas already beat me in one tournament, so and other Caneo as well beat some international players as far as I remember. So they have the potential, of course, that they can like be successful. But yeah, I wish personally to see them more often in international tournaments because I want to see them also like compete more. It's exciting to see their gameplay because they also have a different type of gameplay than other Tekken players, I would say.
That's good. And hopefully things that Joe's working on, the podcast and stuff like that, would help players get out there more. In fact, I wanted to ask you, and what was the decision from the Maltese end, let's get Sephiblack here? Like, what was the whole thing behind that?
Yeah, so we voted, but I was trying to make the case for Sephi to come. I was trying to convince my co-organizers to choose him. My points were 3 points basically. He's a very good player. He is a very good coach because I could see that once you made it a point to coach German players, the German scene just exploded. They were already good players, but they became excellent players. And not just that, but whenever there is a tournament, even other European players outside of Germany would ask Sephi to be their coach.
Oh, okay.
So, that is validation. Also, then, during Esports World Cup 2024, I saw he can say it, he had a match against Double, very difficult match, first Esports World Cup scene in Saudi Arabia. And he lost it was a malfunction.
I've seen this. I have, in fact, a question because most people would react very differently to you. In fact, I wanted to go into that eventually about composure and stuff like that. So you saw not only the good player in Sephiblack, you saw also the things which you would look for, good coaching, because me and Joe have spoken quite a few times about these types of topics, and something we believe is trying to get the players, the athletes in esports to act like athletes who play on the ground. There is certain levels of respect. Being behind the screen doesn't mean you don't need respect. And there's also ego, which obviously happens in every sport, in every life, but it's very good to teach the younger players that sometimes it's not the way to go. So I saw the clip he's talking about, and that's why I want to talk about it, because to me, seeing something like that is like, that's a good role model. That's really good, because it's fun to see someone smash a desk or throw, and it will probably get more views.
Yeah.
But it's really bad teaching sort of thing. So when I saw it, I was like it's an extra for me, like being happy to speak to you, because I know you have that sort of composure, which takes a lot at the level you were playing at, especially because it wasn't just some local tournament. You know? Quite a big deal. So let's start with the basic questions for people to get to know both of you. So let's start with Sephi, and just you can answer straight after. First time you ever touched Tekken?
It was actually Tekken 1 in the when I was a child, just pressing buttons here and there. But I didn't really enjoy playing Tekken. I played it more because it was one of the games I had. Then later, like a friend of mine asked me if I could get Tekken 5 to play it against him, so we can play like video games together. And I was like, okay, why not? Because he was good at Tekken, he showed me that. And then I got more into Tekken and I started to like it with Tekken 5.
So it wasn't love at first sight. At
No,
first you were
absolutely
just like,
not. I really-
then that's really
It took some time because I didn't like that much Tekken. I was more into Virtua Fighter in the past. But then once I like took it more serious, somehow I liked it.
Then you fell in love with it.
Yeah.
So I love it. And I know you've been playing since you were a kid too.
Yeah,
But I think for you it was love at first sight, right, Tekken?
it was, yes. I started playing Tekken 2 Platinum Edition. It wasn't intentional. Like, my father always used to tell me, if you study and you pass your exams, you can buy a video game. And I went to the shop. Obviously, back in that day, there was no real internet. So there wasn't the technology. And I went in to buy monster trucks. And the local shop said, we don't have it. But we have these. And one of them was Tekken 2. I had played it on the demo. My father liked it and said, okay, maybe I try this one. And I bought Tekken.
Destiny.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, Destiny, really. It was
Then my cousin used to beat me. When I started, I think everyone starts like that. You think that the more buttons you push and the harder you push them, the more likely the
I still play
chance
like
that. But then my cousin went into practice command list, and he told me these are the moves, and I said, aha. So started learning bit by bit. Until then, I started competing locally when I was 18. I had my first tournament in junior college. I never knew that there was a community. The junior college tournament was no community members had showed up. I came in first, my first tournament. Then there was a friend of mine who said, I'm going to organize a tournament. 4 members of the community came and destroyed me. Destroyed me. My ego got crushed that day, but I wanted to learn more. I wanted to beat them. But they told me, you're good. You should come with us to learn. They were very welcoming. And I spent time with them until eventually in late Tekken 5, then I was number 1 locally.
Coming from someone who loved fighting games but never took it seriously, so most of my life I played fighting games, like learn the combos, learn the moves, try land the good stuff sort of thing. But the first time I remember it was, I think, some Comic-Con or something like that, and I signed up for a Mortal Kombat tournament with some friends, and I beat a couple of guys, and then I came against a guy, and I spent the whole round in the air.
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand what's happening. I was like, why can't I even land on the ground to fight? Like, and someone explained to me, like, that guy is blah, blah, blah. And I found out about frames. So I didn't know that you guys played with calculating every move has its frame, has its counter. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, like every other sport, you need to learn the entire game that way. So I had got that shock, just being sent in the air, kept in the air all the time. It's quite crazy. It's very different, the casual going on to the like high level scene when people actually understand how you actually play the game. So you both spoke about that. And when did you start competing?
I started with Tekken 6.
Oh, okay.
Like 2009. Like I entered already in Tekken 5 one tournament in Berlin, but where I was like when I saw the first time you can play it really seriously with frames, because before that I didn't know frames as well. I only could do combos, and I was so happy about that. But learning frames and stuff like that was the next step that I learned with Tekken 6.
Mm-hmm. In fact, if you don't mind, I'd like to explain this a bit, because there are a lot of people who don't understand this, like I was. So the way Tekken works isn't just you learn the combo and you try to land it at the right time. Tekken works with frames in the sense that, and correct me if I'm butchering this, every move has a set amount of frames. So basically, certain moves will land before other moves, so you need to know when he hits that, this will land faster, or this is the block for it. So you're kind of studying every character's moves, and it's frames because of how fast it can hit you. So it's quite intense, you know, when you think about it that way. Like,
our community really learned about frames in Tekken 7. So I believe it was 2018.
So it's not just me that was completely out of this already.
We played completely on feel. I think some of us knew about frames, but I think no one really focused on them, unfortunately. We went to a tournament in Italy, in Rome. It was Colosseum, I believe. And all of us got beaten up so badly, and we were the top players in Malta, and we didn't know what happened. But
so this is when you didn't play with frames. You didn't know about
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, but then I noticed that I used to do specific move with my character, and my opponent was blocking it and responding with a certain move every single time. And every single time I couldn't block. So I started to see a pattern.
So the pattern.
Yeah. And I made it my life's mission to know what the hell was going on. And then I realized it was frames. I came back to Malta, and using my character, I studied all the moves of all the characters to know exactly what I had to do. And I wrote it.
It's a lot of how many characters is the
It's quite a lot. It's an average of 6 hours per character, because you get some characters, like for example, Dragunov, that doesn't have a stance. It's less time consuming, but then if you hit King, Lei, or Huarang, then the time you need to lab that is crazy.
And because I wouldn't know, obviously, because I don't play it like you guys. Like, once then you're adjusted to this, does it become muscle memory like other things and other games? Or it's always a concentration? Does it become actual muscle memory that when you see a move, your hand automatically counters? Does it happen like real life or like some other games, or it's always attentive planning sort of thing?
Yeah, it gets into your muscle memory the more you play against it. For example, just because you lapped it once, it doesn't mean like you have it in your feeling. You need to like play against it often. That's why playing often is so important as well, to get it in your muscle memory.
So the more you play against that character and that player, because players play different, the more your muscle memory will go against him, but a different player might use the same character, and it won't be there.
It is, since the move will still be the same, it's still fine, even though another person is using that move.
Right,
so
okay.
this is okay, but since you have like 40 characters around that in Tekken, you can't like, it's not that easy to remember all that moves that easily, and every character has like minimum of 16 attacks, so you need to be ready for that.
I'm sure from the 40 a lot of them never get used, but it's still a lot of characters.
But you never know.
You never know.
Because one guy might just switch up on you because he knows that you don't know the character, for example, and I'm sure that might have happened to you guys, in fact. Like, let's go on to the sort of same topic but this time I want to know which your favorite Tekken one was. Let's start with Joe this time. Like, what's your number one Tekken? This is 1 to 8 right now, so which would you choose?
My favorite is Tekken 5 DR. It's, I believe, when I was at my strongest, and it had my favorite character also, Wong. You don't see him now, unfortunately, but Tekken 5 DR, so many memories. I won so many tournaments. Locally, of course, during that time, we wouldn't have never imagined to have neither to go to a tournament outside of the country or to have a professional Tekken player coming here. It was just, no one would think it's possible. But yeah, Tekken 5 DR had so many characters. It had a certain feel to it. Tekken 5, the game that preceded Tekken 5 DR, was really, really nice, but it had 3 characters that were a bit too strong. It was Steve, Nina, and Brian, I believe. And during that time, there were no updates.
Of course.
So then I believe the PSP came out, and Tekken 5 DR was on the PSP. It was a refined balance adjustment to the Tekken 5, plus they added 3 characters. They added Armor King, Lily, and Dragunov.
All right. And yours?
Mine was... if I think about it, Tekken 7 overall, because I feel like I was competing the most in Tekken 7 compared to Tekken 6 and Tekken 8. And the experiences I got from Tekken 7 was amazing overall. Like with Miguel, competing around the world and seeing so many different places will stay in my heart. In the combination with the game itself, which also had, of course, its issues and its problems, but at least I had my main. I could like be kind of successful, and
I hope we see Miguel in Tekken 8.
Hopefully that would be nice.
I mean, I feel you. I've been waiting for Wong since Tekken 7.
And do you think that, for example, you both chose different Tekkens and you both mentioned something sort of nostalgic or something personal that comes behind it, which is normal to like that game most. If I had to ask you the same question, tell you which do you think is the best designed Tekken? Would you still choose the same one because it happens that you guys enjoyed that one more, or there is one where you say, I think this was the most balanced overall, like, or same answer?
What do you mean, design graphically or
no, not graphically, mechanics, as in when you see it and you say this was probably maybe not the most fun, but it was probably the most concrete to how Tekken should be in fair play and in esports, and like, would you still choose the same one or would you change your mind then?
I would either go for Tekken 5 DR or Tekken 7, because I think they're the least
Sephi is
gimmicky.
having a hard time finding it.
like Tekken 5 DR is like a good one. Like it was quite balanced and the mechanics were very good overall. Tekken 7 also is very good overall, but it had like one thing that were 2D characters like Akuma, Geese, Eliza, that broke so many things in this game that bothered me so much.
Okay.
Can't get like, it's like a big thing, but if I would remove that, I think Tekken 7 for me personally is still like a well-designed, the best designed Tekken.
In fact, you mentioned that, so again, I'm not important in the scene, you can hate me guys for saying this, but I felt this myself. When I saw someone like Akuma in Tekken, I was like, this is really weird. Like why is the Street Fighter guy in Tekken? And I don't know if I was like when I saw it, I was like, this is really cool. There's Akuma in Tekken. You know, you can say, but at the same time, it's like, why is Akuma in Tekken? And it's like, was it just me being a casual, or it's like something players had an issue with?
Yeah, players definitely.
They also had
yeah,
this.
because this character Akuma, since he's from Street Fighter, and Street Fighter characters tend to jump, he also jumped in Tekken. And this is so weird because you need to think differently from the Tekken perspective to counterplay the jump, which never existed before. There was not a strategy to catch the opponent from the air. And now with Akuma and Geese and Eliza, you need to think about, okay, I need to do a certain move to catch the opponent from the air, but the characters also had some anti-strategies to fight against that. And this is so like...
Street Fighter is very, and Mortal Kombat, they're both very attack from the top sort of. Okay. And
it's something like that. And some mechanics didn't exist at all. In Tekken, like they brought with like meter. This is the first time they brought also meter, which is like a bar that like fills itself the more you attack.
Yeah, like the ulti bar.
And then you have also like special advantages if it's full. And Akuma had like crazy advantage with like...
I'm assuming it was black screen, like the same way it was...
something like that. But besides of that, you also had like a launcher, which means like you can put the opponent in the air, like with like the fastest move in the game. And this is like so uncommon for Tekken things.
Would you say it's like the worst mechanic you hate most in all the games of Tekken, or there are others?
I think so, yeah. Even with Tekken 8, I think like this was the worst.
I'm noticing it's irritating you when you're talking about it. It's pissing him off when he's
I
talking
had so
about
bad
it.
experiences.
I share the feeling. It always felt fighting against an alien when you fight against Akuma. It was interesting in fact that it was something new to the game. But you needed to think in terms that is completely different from what we were used to, and you had to do a specific plan for anti-air.
All right. So you have to kind of unlearn what you know about Tekken to apply it.
Yeah, that never existed.
And you would agree that's the mechanic that pissed you off the most?
2D, yeah. The only thing that I liked about 2D, not me as a player, but they had you needed to have some skill to play them because it involved a lot of half circles like other fighting games. So on the other end, you could say they had a high demand for skill to play them.
And the execution barrier was pretty high.
Okay.
But a few people usually that were invested into that had not any issues with that, and they could do the craziest stuff with that, and that was just unfair. I felt like it's
the evolution and if you had to say, like, for example, Tekken 8, the way it is right now, because I've heard let's start off with every game you play. Every time there's a new version of it, it's the same thing just happened with Counter-Strike. When Counter-Strike 2 came out, hype, and then when people play the 2, there's change. Some people don't like change. Some changes don't make sense. And some changes make sense. You just need to get used to them, and later you'll be like, this was a good change. What do you think about the 8? Like, what's the state of Tekken for you guys right now?
It's difficult because in Tekken 8 itself, there were some things that also changed. For example, the heat system got toned down in a certain sense, where mechanics like the heat burst got weaker overall. Heat, the mechanic that got introduced in Tekken 8 is still very an unusual thing for Tekken players, because the option or the things that you can do after you activated heat are so oppressive, because you can be so aggressive in such an easy way, is very exhausting for the opponent or for the players, because you are so engaged to press buttons once you activated heat.
All right.
So this is something very uncommon for Tekken, that you had so easy access to so strong oppressive tools. On the other hand, they nerfed the defensive tools in Tekken, because the defensive tools were usually rewarding and not that risky, but now the keep out tools are way more risky, and therefore the balance of the gameplay did shift in some kind of sense.
And what would you think, obviously it's speculation, but the reasons behind things like this? So, for example, you have some games who want to change things up to see if it does better, but then you have games who want to make the game easier for the casual player. So the casual player gets to win more, gets more chance to win again. So it's kind of lowers the gap between the skilled player and the casual player, which in sales translates better, because players will enjoy winning and enjoy playing more. The second they meet someone very skilled, when there's that type of skill gap, the game punishes you for skill gaps, you might get discouraged as soon as you reach a certain level. Do you think this is something to encourage players and make it better for the casuals, or you think it's just going for a direction?
No, definitely encouraging. It's easier for people who just started to pick the game to be successful, I feel like, in Tekken 8, because since if you're in the state to press a lot of buttons, you will be more successful in this game, and therefore it's more engaging to press buttons in Tekken 8, and it's easier for newcomers to do that instead of walking around, moving, thinking about spacing in this sense. Therefore, I think it's intentionally made for bring more new people into Tekken 8.
I remember it happening with Warzone. They made it more forgiving, and I remember a lot of pro and even just generally good players, they were really complaining on saying, how is it that you can have the better position, you open fire on them, and they still get the chance to turn kill you with a worse weapon, because they made everything so easy, in inverted commas. And a lot of good players used to say it's not fair, the skill should count.
I think as long as, if you have an easy entry point, it's fine. But as long as you need to, the challenge to get to the pro level is still up there, I would agree with it, because even for casual players, if they take the next step and get into the competitive scene, beating a hard challenge is more satisfying than beating an easy one. And it's more satisfying. People will then stay longer to play. But with regards to heat, I think, yes, there is such an incentive to attack now, because when you attack, especially in heat, you deal chip damage to your opponent and you recover grey health. So
okay, so you're also recovering.
Yeah, and even if you're not in heat, you're recovering much less, but you're still recovering. And some moves outside of heat also deal chip damage. I think the main problem is in all fighting games, there is the triangle of attack 50-50 and defense. And traditionally, at least in Tekken 7, for example, it's a rock, paper, scissors, basically. So if your opponent is attacking, you need to defend, and because defense beats attack. If your opponent is defending, you need to go for a 50-50 to make them guess. If your opponent is going for 50-50s, you need to attack to interrupt their mix-up. Now, with heat, the defense part of the triangle is like eaten up. It requires, I think, a hard read. The defense, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you disagree with me, but the defense is also active. You need to attack to defend. For example, if I know that my opponent is going for a low attack, I make a low crush. That means you jump, and because you jump, your hitbox lifts up, the low whiffs, and I launch my opponent, for example. I just hit them. But the defense has changed it dramatically. You can't just block or move around, because you're gonna get into a mix-up really quickly.
It's a pity though when they do things like that, because you're punishing the skilled player then.
You punish the skilled players, but the skilled players or the veteran players needs to adapt to this kind of gameplay.
True.
So, but it takes some time, because they are used. For example, Tekken 7 players were used to play Tekken 7 for like 7 years or 6 years, and then from these 6 years, switching to a new game and rethinking about the concept of how to approach your opponent needs to change.
That's a very positive way of looking at it. It's true. I'm as in honesty, because the way I didn't think about it the way you described it. The way you described it is it's like you're leveling the playing field again. So it's like, if you're that good, don't worry, you'll get the new system and you'll be at the top again. So it's sort of, let's give a chance for the others now to start with you again, and if you're good, you're still gonna go. So it's a good way of putting it through.
That's why we see the top players of Tekken 7 still be great players in Tekken 8, because they adapted to the new system, which other players, not everyone will do that, and since it's also a skill which is not easy or difficult to implement, but the top players are still like great players and successful, because they understood how it works.
They apply the same work ethic to the new whatever.
But it will take time, because in many ways Tekken 7 and Tekken 8 are opposites. Tekken 7 rewarded you for defensive play. Tekken 8 will reward you for aggressive play.
Okay.
So,
it could eventually have an interesting outcome though. Once everyone's on top again and it might open up something new, I guess.
Yeah, it also will show with time of how it will change, because also updates will come.
Exactly.
And this will also change the meta, because the meta, throughout the years will also change.
Yeah. And I think it's also, us gamers always bitching, because every game, even if they change the meta of the guns, it's like, man, I just spent all these months mastering this gun, now I have to change it. So we're always going to complain no matter what, but sometimes it does turn out for the best, for sure. But so we mentioned this before, let's get into a bit. So let me start with you, Joe. I wanted to talk about the biggest struggle you might have faced throughout your Tekken journey, and I'm talking about like game struggle, obviously, not life that might stop you from playing, like during a tournament or something like that. What's
So I rarely, when I lose, I rarely let it affect me, because the way I approach it now after so many years, locally after 10 years, I just stopped having nerves. When I'm playing against someone I don't know, foreign player, or I'm outside of the country competing, I do get a bit of nerves. But when I lose, it's fine. But the one time it did affect me, I almost cried, literally. It was VS Fighting 2018 in Birmingham. I met you there. It was actually an anniversary gift from my wife, the Tekken tournament. She really supports me. She's the unsung hero of the community, hands down. And I studied a lot of characters. And I had to win one match against Master Raven. It was a UK player, and if I won, I would be on stream against John Ding's Eddie. And I had specifically studied the Eddie matchup in my Bible, and I lost against the Master Raven though, and I felt like I wanted to cry.
I believe
That's the only time it affected me. The only time.
It's painful sometimes. And you, Sophia, I saw the video of the controller, the malfunction. I don't know if that's the worst struggle or experience you've had during this. Like, what would you say?
Yeah, this was the most recent struggle I had, definitely. Like, where I was, like, I tried to stay professional, as you've seen, like, not to lose my nerves or get angry. But if I think about like something that really bothered me and was new as well, was when I was newly sponsored for with Big, like, and traveled the first time to Ireland, and having a sponsor that invests in you, and you want to perform well, but I did horrible in this tournament, and I felt so much pressure because I wanted to like be successful for my sponsor and my team. And the very first tournament didn't went well, and I was like, man, if I'm feeling this pressure all the time with a sponsor, I won't be successful, and this is so difficult. But luckily, like after time and also feeling more comfortable with my game plan and prepared myself more for tournaments, I got more successful, luckily. And then I also had more confidence as well.
Yeah, in fact, everyone has that one occasion or that one loss which changes them completely.
Mm-hmm.
You say that would be it, like the one you got the pressure, and from then onwards you decided from now onwards it's control my pressure and
serious. Yeah.
And I was going to ask you, if you had to be honest, did you have pressure because maybe you felt like you were unprepared, or it was just the first time sponsor and it just got you?
Sponsor,
So
definitely.
you felt the pressure of the lights of the big show.
Yeah, because this was like the very first time I had a very good sponsor for that time as well, that invested in me so much, and I was like, man. Usually I have tournament experience. I can't. This is not the reason like where I got so nervous, but like when I don't want to disappoint people or team, this is something.
You weren't playing only for you now. You were also playing for someone else. But if you think about it, even though it's probably one of the bad ones, the worst one for you, it's probably the reason why you're so good and where you are today. Like it was probably that kick in the ass you needed to go like, I would not feel this way again, sort of thing, you know?
Definitely, so it changed something.
Sometimes do you have, Joe, any life-changing losses?
Only that one, but yeah, I did feel the pressure when I got sponsored locally with Project Aversio. It changed because before you're sponsored, you go in determined, you say, I can win this. Mm-hmm. I know I can. And then when you sponsor, now I have to win it.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to. And it changes so much. It changes.
Exactly. Same scenario, different mentality.
Yeah, you like feel the weight. It's like a responsibility now. You have to win.
Exactly.
And you can't think like that. It will get to you.
It's so strange because it's the exact same thing. It's like you ever saw the plank, so they try to prove this. Basically, they put a a plank on the floor, and they tell you walk from this side to that side, and you just walk like why? And then they tell you, let's put the plank in the middle of two skyscrapers and do it. It's the same thing. But you then are going to be like, what if I fall? What if I this? What if I? But you just did it. You just walked. But as soon as I put pressure, because there's danger, there's something to lose, all of a sudden, you won't do it the same. You won't do it well. It's the same walk. You change the environment and everything changes. It's
the context is different. The context is different.
The pressure area can really change you. You can go from the best to just becoming this shy person. But it also changes you and makes you high-level players also.
It shapes definitely you in the future.
In fact, this is one I wanted to ask, and some players don't like the question, but they find it strange. I like to ask it. What's like your toxic trait as a competitor?
Toxic trait? In which sense?
As in, where do you feel that you fall short with yourself? As in, obviously, don't give anything with the way you play the game. I would not like your opponent to get the upper hand on you. But if you had to say you as a character, so for example, you're hard-headed, you can be lazy, you don't sleep enough. Like, where is that trait you have which puts you back? Which maybe you say, I need to fix this, or a lot of athletes suffer from these things, whether it's esports. Is there that one thing? Because it's not always a toxic trait. It can also be just a habit or a bad trait. Could you think of anything, even usually? Anything,
I mean, mine would be definitely, I'm not sleeping as I used to because I have kids and I organize. So I am, my focus isn't just playing now. I would say it's more on organizing. That is me as a player. When I'm playing, the toxic trait everyone says I have is continuously going for mix-ups, and my opponents don't like that.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, they don't like it. Even the way I structure my game plan, I will show you this probably tomorrow or whenever we play again, whenever we have time. I intentionally sacrifice damage from my combos just to make you guess again. If you guess wrong, I will put you in the same situation again just to get to you.
So sometimes you might feel like sometimes you're taking too much of a risk because it can work against you also, obviously.
Yeah, I will lose damage in a combo, but I prefer the okay situation. It's a mix-up. Because if you guess wrong, then I will leave you in the same situation. And unless you are strong mentally, a lot of people, I get them with that because then they get infuriated and then they become very easy to beat. Very easy. If you get angry, suddenly your player level drops drastically.
Yeah, mind games. Like my bad trait was always overextending. Whether it was a shooting game, whether it's a survival game. If I know the guy has just one more shot, it's just one more shot, and you just extend a bit more, and that's when you die. And I used to always tell myself, you just need to learn, stop and focus. But when it's right there, it's to just go for it all the time. It took me ages to fix this in Counter-Strike, for example, like horrible type of trait. I don't know if you thought of one.
No.
Not everyone has one. Not everyone has one.
No,
He seems very disciplined. Yes, it does seem disciplined.
I could be more disciplined though in a certain way. But if I think about Tekken 8, since I am playing a new character, since Miguel is not there anymore, a main that I played for over 10 years, with Shaheen, the approach is different than with Miguel, and you need to be very calm, like in personally or like from your mindset to play well. If you're not calm, you can clearly see it from the game plan. And I'm getting very emotional of my gameplay wise in Tekken. Once something is not working, I'm clearly expressing it. And I hate it. It is so bad. But that's why I try to like be even like more focused and patient and remember me that I need to stay calm to be good. Otherwise, it's absolutely not possible. With Miguel, it wasn't that often that case that I needed to rethink about that because my gameplay was like clear. I got used to it, but with Shaheen and this type of character that he is, it is way more difficult.
Takes time. It takes time.
Definitely.
For sure. So a lot of athletes, not only sports athletes, basically are driven by different things. And I'm very curious. It's normally one of three. People are either driven by ego, or driven by the fear of losing, or sometimes just the love for the game. Let me elaborate a bit. So when I talk about ego, it's some people can't take the fact that someone beat them, and automatically that just makes them wake up in the morning and work harder. Some people are the type of people who just can't take a loss. It's not about who beat him or something. It's just the loss. It's just they keep on blaming themselves. My fault, and that drives them to win. And some people love the game so much, it makes it easier for them to wake up in the morning and train. What would you say drives both of you in general? Or maybe a mix? But it's quite a popular thing amongst athletes to have this background thing which just drives them.
Yeah. In the beginning, I think it was ego for me. But now it's just love of the game and for the community. I just enjoy it for what it is. If I lose, I mean, I would rather win than lose, of course, like everyone. But if I lose, I just say, okay, next week I'll win this.
Nice.
And just keep moving forward.
So it's love for it right now.
Yes, yeah, I love it. I love the thrill it gives you. When you're under pressure, you're always trying consistently to outsmart your opponent, and that is just it. It's because I choose Tekken every single time.
All right.
I love it.
And I would agree, like to Joseph. It's like the love of the game too, but also at the same time to have this battle of minds with your opponent, and you try to outplay him in such a good way, and to do it like properly feels so satisfying, and especially like on the bigger stage, having this feeling of adrenaline feels so amazing. I love it to play, for example, on the big stage, because this feeling that you have is like so unique.
Yeah.
Because I just love that feeling.
And I think like eventually with time, with age, most people, if they remain in the game, it's because of the love of the game. So for example, I can speak about this because I'm not calling you old, because I'm older than both of you. So you're both in your 30s.
Yeah.
And till like, I'm not going to say till a few years ago because time flies, but for example, a decade ago, I remember playing and noticing a lot of people were younger than me, and it wasn't the norm. Nowadays, things change. Nowadays, the average like competitive gamers are 25 to 35, which is great. And the older we grow, it will carry with us. So I do believe that maybe people start out of ego or other things, and then eventually, if you're of a certain age and certain maturity and you're still in it, it's because you're for the love of the game. Would you say that in the beginning it was for the love of it, or there was ego or fear of losing, or just loving winning in general? Was there anything like that? Because I do believe this comes with maturity also.
Yeah.
And you're both in your 30s now, so obviously you're both a certain level of maturity. So do you think when you were younger it was just loving it, or there was this younger self which had this ego or had this, like, I must win everything I do?
For me, it was, I think, at one point it was like I need to win everything, because once I've proven myself somehow, I wanted to see if someone can like compete with me in Germany, because a few years it wasn't the case, because I felt like it was quite like easy for me to compete, if I can say it like that confidently. And then at one time there were some people who were like on my level, and it was so difficult to compete, and I was like, okay, we're going into the right direction here in Germany. And then there were out of nowhere so many good players in Germany, where I was like, wow, it's very difficult to compete against them. And now they are like, I don't need to worry, there are better people than me in Germany, and I'm like, okay, I'm happy about it.
Yeah, that happened here in Malta too. So there was a time where you're number one, and then you see the new players, but they still have a long way to go. But then bit by bit, they start to catch up, and sometimes they shock you. because you kind of assume that they're gonna remain in that level, but then they hit the next level, and until one day they do beat you.
And it's fun in every sports journey, I guess, because it's like you start playing and you're a certain level of good and you feel like you're the best. But then you get out of that group and you're put in with the others who are the best. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I need to step my game up. And it's sort of the same. And the reason I asked the question is because I personally believe it's healthy at a young age to have the ego, to want to be the best, to want to win. I don't believe that there are pros or people who achieved greatness who, one point in their life, they didn't have this, I must win, I must win, I must win.
Mm-hmm.
What's very important for anyone younger competing is that once you grow a bit older, you gain that maturity to understand everyone loses. Sometimes it's your fault you lost. It's not always the opponent's or your gear's fault. So I wanted to ask you guys if you also had this, because I do believe good players all start from this drive of ego.
But it's so important, as you said, that like, I think also, especially for people who start this game, they need to have like a goal to win. Otherwise, it makes it so much difficult to improve in a game. If you just play, if you say at the beginning, I just want to have fun, it's okay, but it doesn't bring you to the next level.
There's a cap.
Yeah, this cap you won't reach, and that's why it's so important to put your to always have higher goals. Like, think, even though you don't believe that you can win against international players, you need to have this goal to think, okay, I will beat this Korean player, because this is possible. You can win against international players. Even though I wasn't thinking of to beat Koreans, Pakistanis, I was able at one point. So if you believe in yourself, you can definitely do it.
I believe if you haven't at least one night woke up because you lost the game you love in your dream, you're not doing enough. Because I do believe everyone who obsesses eventually even wakes up at night going, Jesus, even in my sleep. It's obsessiveness, but I think you kind of have to be a bit obsessed to reach a certain level.
Very true.
You have to make sure it doesn't damage you, and like I said, you grow older and mature about it, but it's that drive isn't always a negative thing like most people like try to show. Sometimes you do need the drive to be the best, and it can be healthy as long as you learn to control it, sort of thing.
True.
Have you ever felt, because you're both very good players and you've both achieved good achievements in general, have you ever felt imposter syndrome? Have you ever won a tournament and after you won it, you felt like, I didn't believe I was good enough to do this? Like, was this a fluke, or did I really deserve this? Did you ever get that feeling?
I had this feeling a few times, because my characters are not that popular, and therefore a lot of people don't know how to play against them properly. And then it's like, okay, I won because my opponents didn't know my character that well, so it doesn't feel that satisfying about it. But it feels very good if I win against someone that I know for a long time, who's like my sparring partner, and I know he knows me, but I could still outplay him. There is no excuse for that. Then it feels very good. But usually I had this feeling a few times when I feel like, okay, my opponent doesn't know how my character works and doesn't have the experience, and I can clearly see it, and it's not that satisfying, even though when I won, it's not that good feeling.
Isn't it's all your own mental battle, because at the end of the day, he could have chosen a different character. You did everything good. He should have learned the character. So at the end of the day, it's fully granted. Your win is your win. But I know what you mean. Like in your head, there's this excuse like, was I better, or was it that he lacked knowledge on my character? I was wondering if you ever had that. And how about you, Joe? Ever like beat people which you thought like, I don't think I should have beat these people?
Oh yeah, that's the main event. I won against Absolute Zero, who's I think he is definitely one of the greatest players in Malta locally at the moment. I rewatch a lot of my matches, and when I see my losses, I say, I shouldn't have gone for this. When I win, I say, sometimes, how did I win this? I shouldn't have won this. It was so close. Was it luck, or did I really have a good read? And
I think it's very healthy to have that, because I think it's sort of being a bit humble, and at the same time you're open for possibilities that you need to improve because someone's better than you. So as much as it sucks, you win and you don't go home feeling like, yeah, I'm the best. It has its very good benefits.
That isn't actually a match that I want to see this Sunday. Absolute Zero versus you. I really want to see that. I really want to see that, because you played casuals against Leonidas, you played against Santoro, but you haven't played Absolute Zero yet. So I wish that would happen, but of course it depends on the bracket and the results. Yeah.
In fact, this segues into something I'm curious about, because you mentioned like when you know you beat the guy who's your sparring partner, then it sort of like feels extra good. Is there a certain pride or a hatred towards the fact that you know that people can study you? You have a lot of footage online. Joe, especially locally, a lot of people have been seeing him play for a long time. So people can study you, people can have the advantage of knowing more than you would know about them because they don't have enough footage out there to study. Obviously, when you beat someone who you know he studied you, it must be an incredible feeling. But do you hate the fact that people can study you, or you just take it as this is part of being a good player? Like,
it's just part of the game now, and not just through streaming and YouTube videos. Now in Tekken 8, you can through the game itself, you can go to replay data, and I can see everyone's matches.
Oh, so you can go and study someone else's matches if you want.
So it's just part of the game. I think the most important thing is to know if the opponent knows you, because you would approach a game differently, I feel. If I know that someone doesn't know me, I can go for a certain game plan. If someone has studied me, I know that I need to change it up.
You need to switch up. So because if they're studying you and then on the day you're completely different, it's like, fuck, I studied everything for nothing, sort of thing.
Yeah. But then if I don't know that they studied against me, then it's a shock for me. And I have to adapt quickly.
Adaptation is important at one point. As an, let's say, a professional player, you figure out at one point if someone analyzed your gameplay, then they're behaving in a different way, and then at this point you need to adapt.
You need to play a bit different than the norm. Like you start noticing he's predicting you because he's studying you, sort of thing.
Yeah, you can feel the preparation on his game plan, and then you're like, okay, maybe you prepared for this, but I still have some things to mess up your gameplay, and then I will switch up.
And it's like Joe said, it's part of the game. As in the gaming world in esports, it's been happening. But if you compare it to the traditional sports, like everyone studies the footage of other people all the time. So it's a very big part of sport, and it comes with some pride, because you beat someone who studied you. Then you're like, I didn't study you, you studied me, and I still beat you. It shows what the true skill is like. So speaking about being high level, what would you say your like training routines are? Like how does you particularly, but how does a Tekken player go about his day when you're at a certain level? Like what's your practice? Like for shooting, it's aim practice. Like what is it with Tekken?
Usually what you should do regularly is playing. Like, of course, playing against like your sparring partners, having a sparring partner like where you know you're on the similar level is important. So you don't, so your muscle memory is sharp and your senses are sharp in moves or skills like whiff punishing, block punishing, and movement. But on the other hand, it's important to figure out your weaknesses that you like pay attention to. For example, if I'm not as good in this direction, in this area, like whiff punishing, for the sets that I'm playing against my sparring partner, I'm paying more attention to focus on that, despite on just like winning, because when I just focus on like my weaknesses and they got better at one time, then in the combination in the future, I will overall play better But first I need to pay attention to my weaknesses and work on that before I work on everything at the same time. That's why it's like important to like just focus on one thing, and then like even though you're losing, just work on that, and then eventually you will get better in the in overall with the other things. I would say.
So it's play, so you become fluent at what you're doing, and at the same time it's tackling your weak spots to just keep on blocking your weak spots. And how many hours on average, like how many days a week and how many hours do you do these things for?
Like in my prime, or when I like performed at its best, I would say playing minimum of 4 hours a day would be good. It doesn't need that much though. Some people need less, like 1 hour or 2 hours a day.
At high level, like
at
that,
high
you still
level.
manage at 2 hours a day.
Yeah, like on high level, like the Pakistanis, what I've noticed, or the Koreans are playing 6 hours, for example, daily. So it depends on, of course, how much time you can invest, but like a good amount of time would be like 4 hours, I would say.
It's a healthy amount of time.
Yeah,
also.
healthy amount of time. Not only playing, but like in this 4 hour, you can like say 2 or 3 hours in like playing sets, and 1 hour analyzing or preparing for characters, because you also need to understand how the characters do work and prepare some strategies.
Yeah, you need to study, also, exactly.
Yeah.
And this is always considering that you can have the time. So, for example, do you do Tekken full time, as in without going into any details, as in why full time? I say, is Tekken your source of income, or you do other things, as in don't need to go into any details, but is it your main thing, or you have time spent on other ventures and other different stuff?
I used to do Tekken as a full-time thing. I tried to have like a full-time job and Tekken. It didn't went out that well. So I just did like Tekken for like almost 2 years. But recently I'm not doing it as a full-time anymore.
Okay. And do you still find the time to do the 4 hours?
Not that much, no.
Because it gets harder, if you have, as in, I don't even want to bother asking you. You have 2 kids.
Yeah. 1 hour for me is as much as it gets.
Yes, and your 1 hour is probably dead tired.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I probably need to eliminate that from my sleeping schedule.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is why I won't understand it from your end, because I'm a father also. I love playing my games, and I'm not doing it to go into anything competitive anymore. I just do it for fun. When I play, it's tiring because you're tired after a whole day. So I can't imagine doing drills like I used to.
No.
So obviously with you, it's a different case. Once you have a family, things have to change.
Yeah. Plus, there's the organization of City of Fighters, which doesn't help. But I would say, if I have 1 hour, I would spend like 15 minutes in the lab. Going through the moves or the characters, which I find really difficult when it comes to matchups, and then just have 45 minutes or 30 minutes of ranked.
Okay.
That really made a difference. During last season, I just spent 30 minutes in ranked, and I got used to adapting really, really well. And after that, I won 2 casuals.
Okay. Against
really good local players, and I think it was just 30 minutes, but I felt it made a lot of difference.
Time is a problem, and life gets in the way, unfortunately. So to be pro, to be any high level, you have to spend time on it. So I can imagine with kids it's tough, with different types of jobs it's also tough, as in went through it myself, not as anything like your level, but I know the feeling of having to juggle all these things. And unfortunately, yes, you're tired, you can't focus on it. Some things are more important, as in rightfully so. Your family needs the time before any game. And like you said, you end up sacrificing sleep to have some fun game or to learn a bit. That's everyone's problem. In fact, that's why I asked before, what's the sleeping pattern like? Because it's so important to be sharp and play well. But who can afford to do it in today's world if you're trying to juggle everything? It's an annoying one, that one, yes. In fact, let's talk about my curiosity. You both are really good at Tekken. You both spend so much time on Tekken. Do you guys like any other games? Do you play any other games?
I like like Elden Ring.
So, but do you play it, or every now and then you'll decide to do a bit of it? As in, do you put time aside to game, or it's just
I used
getting
to
better?
play other games, well, Baldur's Gate 3 as well.
All right.
But once I started organizing, no,
You don't have time for it.
I don't have time
No,
for
I
it.
get you.
No.
Usually, like, I like other games, but once I play them, I'm like, man, it's time to play Tekken again. This is such an unfortunate thing, but otherwise, I want to play other games. For example, recently I bought like Metal Gear Solid 5 Delta, and the story isn't that long. It's like 6-7 hours, maybe.
But Tekken.
But then after 1 hour, I'm like, man, I need to play Tekken.
Yeah, you feel like it's not worth the time if you can be on Tekken.
Yeah, unfortunately, because with Tekken you have like fun in such a short time. You don't need to like a lot of explanation. You can just jump in and have a good time. But for like story games, you need to be in this mood and like take your time and feel comfortable, and then getting just into the story takes like 1 hour.
Yeah.
I completely understand. When I had the time, it used to be nice, but now sometimes, even like games like Counter-Strike, I wouldn't play them because it's not like Tekken. You can go in and do a quick game. The game lasts you 45 minutes most of the time at least. That's one. And two, you can't just go, I'm going to play an hour of Counter-Strike. You know, you need 3 at least to have fun. So you don't have the time for it anymore. Like, but I was curious, like, if you pick up any other games, because as in competing is one thing and gaming is another thing. It's a pleasure. But I really struggle to find time and sacrifice a lot of sleep. So that's why I wanted to ask, like, you guys do.
It's difficult, definitely. But actually, if I could, I would like play more games. But with Tekken in mind, it's not possible.
Yeah, I'd love to play Fallout 4 or Expedition 33.
Are great.
But I don't have time.
Yeah.
No, but listen, it's good that you guys do this, because if you have busy lives and you're focused on Tekken, you should put your time on what you're focused on, playing it in a certain way, and you didn't have that much time to maybe improve as much as you used to before, and you switched to helping the organization, City of Fighters, so you're still fully in Tekken. It's just directing your time differently instead of in front of the game. So at least
it's a better way. I can manage my time better because, let's say, I have some free time and I'm playing ranked, and my son tells me, "Daddy, I need your help. I'm playing ranked, you know."
Exactly.
I have to choose. Obviously, I choose my son, but my ranked match is ruined.
Exactly.
If I'm organizing and I'm sending an email, you know, it's okay. I can stop and I can continue. So
and it also feels more like work when you're organizing. So the amount of times I leave my PC for my daughter, come back and my guy is dead because I'll be playing Ark Chase.
Yeah.
But it happens. It's part of. In fact, as I say, I want to be like filthy rich, not to have mansions, boats, and cars, just to have time to play, to not have to worry and just enjoy myself and relax.
Time is so precious.
Very, very. And the other you go, unfortunately, you start to realize it because you want to do so many things. And you're like, this comes first. So, unfortunately, So, apart from games, then I know Joe, but I'd also like him to tell the viewers in general, but also you, Sephi, like, what are you guys like outside of Tekken? Like, who are you outside of Tekken? Some people know you for Tekken. Like, who are you? Do you go fishing? Do you have hobbies? What do you do? Like, what's your thing?
Like, because of Tekken, like, a lot of my life used to be Tekken for a certain time, but a part of that, I'm someone who usually likes to go to gym.
Okay, good.
Like sports. Besides of that, like going for photography is a big hobby, which is also like combined with my job in some kind of sense. Since I am a user experience designer, UX designer, and being like I don't know how to say it in English, but being like invested in like digital things and art is something that is very interesting for me. I would say like art, photography, and sports. In
Okay.
this combination.
You've had background in sports when you were younger also?
I just went to the gym since I was 15.
Also
So,
gym in general?
Yeah, gym in general. Like, but here and there some basketball, some football.
It's
But-
very nice to hear because when I hear most interviews with esports players, most of them are Netflix, eating food, sleeping. Like, it's surprising how many of them don't have their outdoor activity, and then they'll be young and not married, not with kids, and they just stay home. And it's good to hear that you like the gym and you like photography, you have different tastes than just competing.
But I can understand this also Netflix and this combination with like playing or being like a competitor, because it's a nice way to relax outside of it. But
you can't always do it.
yeah, you can't always.
You have to
do
make yourself get out and do
Mm.
some walking, some running,
Yeah.
some reading, some whatever, something different. Photography, like you said, get you out of the house.
Yeah.
Yes, Netflix and eating some good food after a nice long day of work is the ideal situation, but unfortunately it doesn't really get you,
Yeah.
you know, so it's nice to hear that you have outdoor hobbies and especially gym, for example. which
Yeah,
is
I
very
tried
important
to.
do,
Yeah,
like
it's
some
difficult to combine
exercise.
it, but at least try, because your body, if you're just playing and don't move at all, you definitely will feel it in your back.
Yes.
The back is the first part.
If you have kids, you'll understand it, and I don't mean it in a negative way, because
Yeah.
like the reason you don't have time when you have kids is because you're enjoying your time doing other things, but you won't have the strength to do much sports. So when you find the time to do it, you actually do start to realize how healthy it is for you. Like, I'm not sure you, Joe, do you find time to do anything else apart from work and City of Fighters?
Yeah,
Not
so
really.
much, yeah.
Not
Yeah.
really. My life is basically a coin. It has two sides: father and organizer. That is it. That is it.
I understand you. I understand you
No,
completely.
there's no time, because I think when it comes to organization, the more work you put in, then the demand also increases. Because, for example, I've noticed after we got structured, then we got sponsors. Once sponsors came in, then you have to meet certain deadlines. You have to do certain things. So the amount of time it requires skyrocketed.
Yeah, the more you work, the more work you create for yourself in
Yeah.
a way.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. Just seeing the players enjoying themselves.
Mhm.
I think they do appreciate it, and that is in turn that motivates me more to keep going.
Listen, helping organize tournaments, podcasts, helping community grows is a very big part-time hobby, you could say. So
Yeah.
it's just as beneficial as photography, for example. You know what I mean? So at least you find time to do something outside of the playing, at least, which gets your mind working in a different way. Joe, I know we have the main event bracket.
Yeah.
Would you like to discuss it?
Oh yeah. We're gonna have
Alright,
some
alright.
great matches.
So we'll put it up on the screen and we'll go
Yeah.
on from there. We have the brackets up. Very interesting brackets. Joe, let's go.
Yeah. So
Let's discuss this.
yeah, these are the best 16 players for this season, City of Fighters. We have you're on this side of the bracket. So first you're going up against Joker. I mean these are predictions. After our first match, probably it will be me against Leonidas for the end time. I'll try to eliminate him. Actually, it's been getting harder and harder. Last year and this year, I only won a set against him when he felt like going to party mode and went for Kazuya. I'll try to tell him, you know, do you have the guts to go, Kazuya? But then, whoever wins between us, I think you will be going up against that. To be honest, I would like to see Leonidas against you in the tournament. Okay, it won't happen, of course, but yeah,
Of course.
So on the other end, there are some interesting players. I think you haven't met any of some of them. You haven't met them. You've met Santoro.
Yeah.
But that match will definitely be streamed. Santoro versus Caneo. It's a good match. The other one, Absolute Zero and Zoan. You met Zoan.
Yeah.
Definitely streamed as well. Demonio and Jaguar. Demonio is also a very interesting player, which I think you'll play him before Sunday because he's coming to the. I think he's coming. He's coming on Wednesday and Thursday.
Nice.
And Bahar is Absolute Zero's brother. They're in the same.
Nice.
And yeah, Bahar has placed first in the casuals.
Okay.
So he got first, and Leonidas got second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he made
also good potential then.
Yeah, he has made quite the comeback with Armor King. Yeah.
Nice.
So I think I would say it's this side of the bracket is I think very hard to predict.
Okay.
Because you have very, very strong players. Anyone could come, I think, to the grand final against you if you win everyone. Bahar, I would say, Demonio, Absolute Zero, Zanar, Caneo, Super Santor, any one of them you could meet. I would want Absolute Zero just because you haven't played against, but you haven't played against Bahar or Demonio quite yet. Yeah. Do you know any of these players?
Yeah, like Caneo and Super Santoro, of course. Zorn, yeah, I also played against him. Yeah, Absolute Zero, you talked a lot about him, and I saw a bit of his gameplay and it looks very good. And the others, like Bahar, unfortunately not. But yeah, it would be interesting to play like all of them.
Yeah.
But personally, Absolute Zero with Brian, since Brian is also one of the strongest characters right now in Tekken 8, would be good.
And what's the format? Is there losers bracket?
Yeah, it's double elimination.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, they'll probably ask you to play casuals after.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, like also before or after, I'm up for it.
Yeah.
Since I'm here, I want to take the opportunity just to play. Besides of the tournament, of course, you also need to take it like serious. But playing against these players offline is a different experience that you need to take the opportunity.
You can have fun also and like not be so
that serious
all the time. Like you can enjoy it and talk and play a bit.
Definitely.
I'm from that generation where we all met at home on the couch from playing Tekken. It used to be the best. So nice to do that today's world.
And it's something that basically we in Malta can do. That's why we do weeklies.
Yeah, it's so good that you're one island that can just gather in one place and they don't need to drive for more than 1 hour to get there.
We don't. We meet at Level Academy.
As in
every Friday.
Population is smaller, but unfortunately that's against us. But yes,
but
it's easy to go everywhere.
That is, I think, the one advantage, at least one of the advantages we have, is that if we announce an event, everyone in the country can come.
Exactly.
Pretty easily.
Sure.
30 minutes
Transport
drive.
is never an issue. It's 20 to 30 minute drive max, because most people 15 minute drive. So and Academy is quite central right now. So no, it is a very nice part of being on the island. People know each other. It's easier to get the groups together.
Because, for example, in Germany, since some of the players are living in the north, it's difficult to travel to the south. It takes like 7 hours, 6 hours, and it's not worth it for them to travel. That's why like having like a local space for us where I live, we have like locals or monthly tournaments where we have like 70 players that gathers and just play.
That's
once
nice.
a month. It's very good, but you need to arrange it, organize it, having a TO who's like taking care of it, and people who are like doing like promotion for it. It's so important.
So much nicer than online though.
Yeah.
Oh
way
yeah,
less.
definitely.
Always.
There's
Selectivity,
so
yeah.
many issues that crop up,
Yes, it's true.
and you don't see them as a player, but yeah, anything can happen.
Mm.
I've made my peace with that.
That's true.
You,
yeah,
can't
organizing
you
it.
can only predict up
And
to a
things
certain
will
point.
happen always.
Yeah.
Always. There's always going to be problems. But being in person for the community itself, it's so much stronger and nicer to do
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And with Tekken, you can do that because you can't get Counter-Strike, for example, or 5v5 type of competitive games to just meet up. You need 10 PCs, venue, you know, at least this
Mhm.
way. 1 unit and 2 controllers, and you can get some games going.
Mhm.
So it's nice that that's an option, and the Maltese players are taking it, not being lazy about it, because
Mhm.
there are many fighting games and they're lazy about it. There are many one-on-one games and they're lazy, at least Tekken ones. Because of people like you, I see the effort, I see the appreciation from players, and the community grows a bit, you know?
Yeah. We had a very eventful year, but we're still here, and we're here to stay.
I believe you. I believe for sure. So before we close it off, Sephi, do you have any advice for any young players who are thinking of taking their competitive to a next level, trying to go pro? Like, is there any advice?
I would say, like, if we go back to the topic about like having an ego, is like young players should try to have the goal to beat the current best players in the region. For example, if you want to start a game or if you want to compete, look around who's beating you up and try to beat them. And then always go for the next level. Try to beat the next best person that you can't beat right now, because then you will always develop like a game plan to like get better overall, to improve, and that's how you overall become better. Because once you have like a goal to like get the best in your region and then look for the next region, or like that, then you will like improve. And it's definitely possible for everyone.
Mhm.
Like, just because you feel like, okay, you don't have the options, like you have like your locals that you can visit, and you have also online.
Yeah.
And online, even though it has like it has its controversial side, it's still like giving you options to have the experience to play against different types of players that you should take as an opportunity. And if you really don't like it, like invest in one journey, maybe to travel outside of Malta or of your region to get some experience. Maybe Italy or
Mhm.
Greece, to go there and try to attend one of these tournaments to get some experience from that. Because the experience that you get from other tournaments can be so like change your perspective of how things work. So maybe invest in that, I would say.
I think very good advice.
Uh-huh. So yeah, to continue with what you said, I would say make connections with your local community and go to events, because it helps you so much. I come from an era I didn't know my community existed. I didn't know, and I had to learn things on my own for the most part. But now that we have a community and it's an ongoing thing, you can ask someone who plays that character, who has been playing for quite some time, and instead of you having to learn every single thing on your own, you know, players can tell you, look, use these moves, they're really good. This is the 10 frame punish, this is the 15 back punish, etc. This is the combo, and you have like, you know, you have the highlighted notes.
Mhm.
You know what you need to focus on. But yes, I agree with what you said, that you should go to foreign tournaments, and in fact, for next season, I think I can announce it. We're gonna have a journey to Olympus, and the winner of the main event will be actually going to Greece, and it's going to be the standard every season here at City of Fighters. So every season, first place will be traveling abroad. to a tournament outside of Malta.
So the best player every year will get everything paid for to go play.
Not every year, every season. We have
Every
4
season.
seasons. We have 4 seasons every year.
So there are opportunities to go 4 times a year, having your
Yes.
ticket paid for. What would be covered?
Flight, accommodation, and tournament ticket.
Okay, so you can have that opportunity because to add on to what you said, like, yes, first of all, obviously, practice. And more important than practice, play against people who are better than you. Keep on winning, you don't get better. You keep on losing, eventually you're going to get better. So I definitely agree with you there. Going to a major tournament or any big tournament, apart from competition and trying to take it to the next level, I really advise people to just do it because the experience you get from seeing an event and seeing, especially being from Malta where it's tiny and we don't get these things, seeing so many thousands have the same love of the game like you, beautiful experience. And in your case, you're going to send people to actually compete. So you're going to give them the spotlight feeling, which people, like you mentioned before, will feel a new pressure. Some of them didn't even know existed.
It's for their own good, though.
Yes. So the opportunity, they have an opportunity 4 times a year. Someone can go up, the winners, not someone of each season, and compete.
Yeah.
Okay, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So I think we can end this here. It was a really nice conversation. It was very nice to meet you, Sevi. I've obviously met you a million times before. And really good advice. So for all the people who are aspiring to become better players, not only in Tekken, actually, in everything. Compete against people who are better than you, experience bigger events. It will definitely help you a lot more. And 100% please support City of Fighters. Please support your local communities because unless it's people like Joe who out of his own free time, and like we're saying, as kids, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot. He does things to try help the community grow. So show your respects back, sign up. Whether you're the worst player or the best player, it can always be really fun and you can always learn. And like we were saying, go to these events because playing at home in your own comfort is really fun. But out with friends has a different feeling. And they become more than your friends. They can become your sparring partners also. So I think people who watch this podcast, not only Tekken players, a lot of people can take a lot out of this and support it. So maybe we can have even more of these and more wonderful guests like Sefi to come to Malta. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you too.